The obvious thing to predict for this match is that if Sting and Triple H do go through with this match at WrestleMania 31, obviously Sting, the average wrestling fan will say Sting will come out of this one with the win. I want to say Sting is going to win, but with the creative control and the power Triple H has in WWE, and with how Vince McMahon really hasn't agreed and seen eye to eye with Sting and former WCW talents such as Goldberg over the years, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Triple H came out of this one with the win. With how big of a name Sting is, obviously Sting is going to win this one in the minds of a lot of wrestling fans, and I don't want to go against what you're saying about this match and predicting Sting to win it, but there is a chance that Triple H could come out of this one with the win. Do I think it will be a series of matches? We'll probably see a rematch between Sting and Triple H, but we won't see it immediately after WrestleMania. We will not see Sting wrestling on editions of Raw and SmackDown. We could see him be champion. That is possible, but Sting will wrestle and defend the title whenever Sting wants to defend the title like Brock Lesnar is doing, like The Rock did previously in 2013. How many times did he even defend the title in The Rock's case? I think it was twice, once against CM Punk in the rematch and once against John Cena at WrestleMania 29 to solidify both their legacies. John Cena going on to become the biggest name in the WWE, and The Rock solidifying his legacy as one of the greatest of all time. The Rock hasn't even wrestled since then. And how many times has Brock Lesnar defended that title since winning it last year at SummerSlam? He defended it at Night of Champions, and he defended it. He hasn't defended it since, so he's going to be defending it at the Royal Rumble. That's the next time they'll be defending the title. So he's defended the title only once, and this is his second title defense in a triple threat match now against Seth Rollins and John Cena. Really appreciate that. If Sting were to become champion, he'd be falling in the same category where he'll only defend the title when he wants to, and he'll probably only defend the title up to about 3 to 4 times maximum before he drops the championship and relinquishes it to someone they're going to be putting over in a future storyline with Sting. There are also some other suggested opponents that have been thrown out there for Sting if, in fact, he is going to be making his in-ring debut at WrestleMania if the match with Triple H doesn't follow through or pan out. A big suggestion is John Cena versus Sting. I've talked about that in a previous video blog on my YouTube channel. I'm really big on that match because we'd have a new talent against a wrestler, the biggest new talent against a wrestler representing the current roster of talent, and Sting representing all the legends. That would be great. I wouldn't even care if it was for the championship. Sting versus Brock Lesnar in what could possibly be Sting's retirement match in the mind of Paul Heyman. That was an interesting promo about how Sting could possibly be facing Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship, with Sting being the number one contender. I would love to see that, because that would be a great way of setting up for Sting to win the title for the first time ever, especially with how much hatred has existed between himself and the McMahon family. Sting versus Randy Orton is another one. And the big one, of course, Sting versus The Undertaker. They had an interesting documentary put together for the Monday Night War series on the WWE Network about 3 or 4 weeks ago, almost a month ago now, where they documented the rivalry between WCW and WWE for rating supremacy and how Sting and The Undertaker remain true to the respective brands. And this could be the match that we could see The Undertaker wrestle for the final time. That would be a perfect way of putting The Undertaker out of his misery, so to speak, with no disrespect going towards The Undertaker, with how much he's given us. A lot of people think that he's given us enough, and some people think he hasn't given us enough, and there's still a lot left in the tank for The Undertaker. We have to get that Sting-Undertaker match in there at some point, and that's the interesting thing about that. But right now, the direction for Sting's first match is obviously going in the direction of seeing Paul Levesque facing Steve Borden, Sting versus Triple H with their character names thrown in there. I would love to see something done with their shoot names. It's funny that I just mentioned their shoot names, Steve Borden and Paul Levesque. I would love to see something done with their shoot names where they come face to face, they refer to each other with their real names, and they get really personal, because this is a really personal feud that goes back years. And I said in my column in this corner with Jonathan Clarke, it's great that we've had to wait this long, because it would be very insignificant if we would have seen this match happen in WCW when Triple H was under contract with WCW along with Sting back in 1992, because back then, of course, Triple H was under the tutelage of William Regal and being mentored by William Regal, who he remained close with in his few years he spent down in the WCW power plant. If this match would have happened, say, 20 years ago, it wouldn't be as big or been done on a big platform like it has been doing now. So now, at least, after having waited years, rather than having seen it done in 1992, at least now we're getting a big match that has a lot of significance that could go either way, and wrestling fans now have a reason to be excited, more so than they ever have before. Who I am going with this match, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be Sting winning this match, because I can't see, even though how personal this feud is with the McMahons and Sting over the years, since at least 2004, 2005, this has been going on for over a decade up to this point, so we've been pretty much waiting anywhere from 10 to 15 years to see this. I can't see Sting, even though this is so personal, coming in to lose. So I'm going to go with Triple H losing this match to Sting, and Sting coming out of this one with the win, with Sting losing to possibly Triple H or a bigger name than Triple H down the road. I can't see Sting also wrestling all the time in WWE up until the point that he wins that title match once in his run with WWE and holds it for a number of months. That is when we'll see Sting slow it down, and I don't see Sting wrestling all the time. So this definitely is going to go in the way of Sting winning. I'll go out on a limb and say for the record that Sting is my prediction to win this match. And you would think at this point in time I would have a prediction to win the Royal Rumble. I really don't have a prediction for the Royal Rumble match itself. Either Daniel Bryan or Roman Reigns are the obvious suggestions to win this match, but I'll prefer Reigns winning the Royal Rumble over Daniel Bryan. I can't see Daniel Bryan, after being gone this long on injury, to come back and win the Royal Rumble, although the one that trained him, Shawn Michaels, won the Royal Rumble after returning off injury when nobody expected him to do that after being assaulted by several thugs in New York City and then following it up with being kicked in the head by Owen Hart. I don't really think Daniel Bryan is going to pull a Shawn Michaels and win the Royal Rumble, although Vince McMahon tried to put it over as if Daniel Bryan was going to retire after being gone for so long to come back and win the Royal Rumble. I don't think it's going to go that way. If anyone wins the Royal Rumble, it's going to be Roman Reigns. So I'm going to go with the predictions of Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble. I'm going to go with the prediction of Sting versus Triple H at WrestleMania, being Sting winning the match. And the triple threat match, if I had to pick a winner, it's obviously going to be Brock Lesnar setting up for Lesnar versus Reigns at WrestleMania 31. The interesting thing is there's a lot of diverse conversation being dropped on social media, especially on Twitter, and I really appreciate the diversity of this match. Half of you are for Triple H in this feud, half of you are for Sting, demonstrating how much of a diehard fan you are of WCW former alumni. Sting is one of those original WCW alumni, and I really appreciate how you've gotten on the Sting fan wagon in recent weeks. You're hashtagging Sting versus Triple H. You're talking about Sting's debut and how Sting really has to win this match. It's not one of those situations where if Sting loses, the fans will riot. It's not in the way of a CM Punk or a John Cena having to lose at a Rob Van Dam situation back at ECW One Night Stand in 2006. I don't expect anyone to riot if Sting were to lose this match, but it is a match that has a lot of significance, and it is a match that I think is worth the price of WrestleMania, either on satellite or digital cable subscribers, or for people who are fortunate enough to have the network in your area. It is definitely worth the price of a pay-per-view, because one thing that I mentioned in my column is that millions could be generated off of this match, and no doubt millions will be generated off of this match, and there will be a lot of conversation within weeks of this match happening at WrestleMania 31, if in fact it's followed through with on social media, especially on Twitter. People will be hashtagging Sting versus Triple H. It'll be trending on Twitter all week leading up to the match, from at least Monday to that Sunday the match happens for WrestleMania 31, which will be on March 29th, 2015. I'm really excited to see how this one goes and just to hear all the conversation that's going to be happening on social media with this one. There's a lot to be expected, and I really appreciate all the rumors that have been floating around about Sting's WWE debut, because we haven't seen him since last year at Survivor Series when he came out and assisted Team Cena in winning against Team Authority. I would have expected by now we would have at least seen a Sting promo where Sting kind of appeared on the Titantron, or a Sting promo would have aired either during Raw or SmackDown. The only thing we've gotten since Sting's appearance at Survivor Series, the first time ever we saw Sting on a WWE pay-per-view face-to-face with Triple H off of camera on the WWE app. Of course, we have seen it, but we haven't seen it on television up to the point of Survivor Series. I really appreciated that, but the only thing we've seen from Sting is a Sting signature at the beginning of Raw, and that was the Raw following Survivor Series. In its aftermath, the Authority came out, blamed Sting for them being taken out of power. They left for a number of months and returned on the final Raw of 2014 after John Cena was put in a precarious position after Seth Rollins threatened to kick the head of Edge off with the curb stomp, and then he reinstated the Authority. And I would have thought then the lights would have went out and Sting would have came out, and I would have thought he would have came out at least on the first Raw of 2015, or at least threatened the Authority and threatened Triple H's existence in WWE. Obviously, the way it's going to go within the next couple of weeks, if it's not going to happen before the Royal Rumble, it'll happen a few weeks before WrestleMania, kind of like how The Undertaker shows up within 2 to 3 weeks before WrestleMania and issues a challenge to someone or challenges somebody who's in a position to challenge him for his streak, which is obviously no more affecting The Undertaker. Obviously, The Undertaker's going to have another reason to come back, and if the only reason is to face Brock Lesnar, at least it's a reason for The Undertaker to come back. Obviously, Sting will show up in the way of an Undertaker. The lights will go out when Triple H is in the ring cutting a promo with the entire Authority, if not Triple H himself. Sting will come out and say he wants to face Triple H at WrestleMania to end his career, and something like that will happen. It'll be some kind of a match with some significance. Obviously, it'll be a no-holds-barred kind of street fight match, and whoever's going to win the match is going to win the match. But obviously, no matter who wins the match, we're going to be entertained. Now, I will say this. The storyline could be better for this match based off the history between Sting and Triple H. There isn't much history existing in either major wrestling promotion, but they have worked together before on the same stage in the early 90s, although we never did see Sting versus Triple H before, and this is the first time ever we're going to be seeing this. With how much history exists between Sting and Triple H, we are going to be entertained at WrestleMania, and this is a main event caliber match that could be the final match we see at WrestleMania 31, because really what is WrestleMania 31 offering us? Possibly Reigns versus Lesnar, and possibly The Undertaker facing someone at WrestleMania, if not Brock Lesnar. So WrestleMania 31 without Sting versus Triple H, it really defeats the purpose of having WrestleMania. And with Sting now under Legends contract, with WWE making all the appearances he's been making on the network, promoting the fact he's a character in WWE 2K15, it would completely defeat the purpose of having WrestleMania if Sting wasn't appearing on the card. And having Triple H versus Sting could generate a lot of attention and get us to a point we've been waiting to get to for seemingly forever. This is a dream match that wrestling fans want to see. I said this about John Cena and Sting before, and I'll say it about Sting and Triple H. This is a dream match that wrestling fans have been waiting to see for a very long time. So let's get going with it, and let's see it finally come into fruition at WrestleMania 31, with my prediction for this match being Sting. Obviously, because this is Sting's debut, and the first time ever we'll see him compete in a 20 by 20 foot WWE ring for the first time ever, making history, with Steve Borden going up against Paul Levesque, Triple H versus the man they call Sting. Going with Sting all the way in this match. Here is Miley Cyrus with Little John, the remix of I Can't Be Tamed from 2009, and I will see you next week.
Like what you hear? Tell us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.